We've got a ton of stuff to talk about in this video, guys. We've got loads of buffs, loads of nerfs, and we've got an amazing new feature that is coming to Overwatch. A feature that has been highly requested, and it's going to change the game, and it's going to be awesome. All right, guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Stylosa. So I want you guys to go in the comments below and let me know how you have been sort of experiencing the experimental play card, because I really want to see what you guys think about the triple DPS system and the crazy changes to some of the heroes that are actually on it right now, which, I mean, Zarya is just crazy. Reinhardt is also really good as well. Let me know in the comments below. And as ever, guys, if you do enjoy these videos, do subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and like the video. All right, let's get stuck into this. So the thing I want to talk about at the top of this video is the new feature. It is share replays. This, I could not believe it when I read this on the patch notes. I was like, yeah, give it me. Because I remember when I did the interview with Jeff when we revealed the replay system was coming to the game. And the first thing I said to him is, Jeff, when are we going to be able to share these replays? Because that's what I want, right? I want your replays to use them in Overanalyze, because it will just be amazing. The quality will be crazy because I'll be able to fly around the map using free camera. I'll be able to jump on board with absolutely anybody in the game. I'll be able to slow down time. It is just an incredible resource for content creators, but also for you guys as well, because it means you can share replays with each other, and then you can work out, you know, maybe something that's gone wrong. You can review your own gameplay footage, which I guess you could kind of already do anyway, but you could send it to a friend and a friend could review it for you. There's a load of different things you could do, right? It's just so goddamn cool. And I wanted this in the game when this system first came out. Anyway, let's get stuck into this. So this is what they say. Since the introduction of the replay system, players have consistently asked for the ability to share those replays. We're excited to bring that functionality to you. A replay is shared via an alphanumeric code, typically 6 characters long. The code can be shared however you want, in-game, on forums, over social media. Another player can input that code and watch your replay. Codes are valid until the next patch. Beautiful. This is just like the workshop code system, exactly the same. You import the codes, you export the codes, exactly the same system. We've also made some improvements to the replay system. You can now pin up to 10 replays to keep until the next patch. You can unpin a replay to make room for a different replay. We track your 10 most recently imported replay codes. This allows you to watch the same imported replay again without retyping the code. There is a new note field for each replay entry. Add descriptions or notes for yourself, which is cool because you can quickly make a note and say, hey, in this game, I played 76 and I got 50 limbs, right? Or something like that. And you can keep it for posterity. And also, that's just great. It's just cool. This is great, right? This is actually awesome. And it's beautiful that this is in the game. And I can't wait for this to hit the live service, because it's just going to be incredible. And it means that the way Overanalyzed is made is going to radically change. In fact, you guys won't have to record your gameplay footage anymore. You'll literally just be able to send me a 6-digit code, and that's it. Everybody can do that. So I'm expecting to get totally flooded with videos, although I'm flooded enough as it is, but I'm just going to get absolutely flooded. And I probably should change the website form, actually, because no longer do you have to send a YouTube link in, which is going to be great. All right, let's get stuck into some of these changes then. Now, remember, this is on PTR. So there's a little bit of confusion at the moment because we've got the experimental card and then we've got PTR. Now, PTR is still being used as the place to finalize and test changes before they go live. Now, these changes on the PTR, I fully expect, will go to the live server. The experimental card, on the other hand, that's very much experimental, and I don't think any of that is going to go onto the live server. So it still is a little bit confusing, but everything in this video is on the PTR, so expect this to come to the live servers. Now, the first thing is this. This is actually really cool. In the Assault, Payload, and Hybrid game modes for competitive play, when both teams complete a round of offense and have more than 2 minutes of time bank, then each team's time bank is equally reduced until one of the teams has 2 minutes remaining. Example, if Team A completes a round of offense on Volskaya with 4 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in their time bank, and Team B completes their round on offense with 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining, then 50 seconds is removed from each team's time bank. This leaves the teams tied 2-2 and Team A with 3 minutes 47 remaining and Team B with 2 minutes remaining. Now, that might sound a little bit confusing, but I think the example there really does make sense, and I don't think I need to like expand on that. But What is this? This is the question. What the hell is this? Well, remember what Jeff said on the forums a while back. He said they're looking at ways of speeding up games of Overwatch. This is definitely one of those ways. Now, this is for 2CP. The most hated game mode in the game. It is so frustrating, especially if you get a really fast attack phase. The enemy team get, a pretty fast attack phase. It's like, oh, we get to start again. And we've got more time than we did on the first attack phase. So we go again. It is not great. Like, I don't think anybody enjoys going through Volskaya over and over again or Hanamura over and over again. It's quite demoralizing as well when you do lose these games because they can go for a very, very long time. And you sit back and, hey, you look at your match history and you're like, oh, yeah, cool. There was that 29-minute game on Hanamura, which I lost. Yeah, no, it's just terrible. Nobody likes it. So I like this, although I think I'd like it more if 2CP was just removed from rotation. Anyway, let's move on. D.Va has been nerfed. Oh dear. All right then, so check this out. D.Va's boosters, the cooldown has been increased from 3 to 4 seconds. Now, this is only 1 second, but this will, I don't know, this is going to make D.Va less mobile. It really is. It's only a second. She's still going to be pretty mobile. Let's not beat around the bush here, guys. It's not like she's crippled. She will be able to still move around. It's not 3 seconds, and it'll be kind of annoying to the D.Va players currently on live because you guys are used to using 3-second boosters now, and Blizzard go, no, actually, we're going back to 4 seconds, or we're increasing it to 4 seconds, I should say. This is probably needed because she is very mobile, and she is pretty much the go-to off-tank right now in the game, and you can see Blizzard are trying to sort of deal with that. Also, we are seeing a lot of this being used at Overwatch League level. D.Va is pretty much exclusively the off-tank, so this nerf is probably going to reduce her power level there when it eventually reaches to live servers. And I think this is kind of okay. I mean, it's not a massive nerf, and it's not a... I don't think it's going to radically destroy the hero, but it is making her a little bit more sort of easier to deal with, because normally she'd dive in, do whatever she needs to do, and then she gets back out. At least now you've got an extra second to maybe try and stun her, freeze her, or do something, or just shoot her. I don't know. Jeff did allude to this change on the forums because he said, hey, maybe there's a change coming to Mei, wink, 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 wink kind of thing. And this is the change to Mei's Ice Wall. It's to do with Collision. So cooldown increased from 10 to 13 seconds. So that's actually a pretty heavy nerf there. An extra 3 seconds on the wall being used. Yeah, that's pretty heavy. Probably needed as well because wall is just everywhere. And it's such a powerful ability. And I actually find it kind of funny that it's taken this long for everybody to sort of realize that Mei is super powerful. Like, the ability to edit the map is really strong, like really, really strong. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that it's taken this long for her to sort of become super meta. But yeah, Blizzard obviously are trying to address this by nerfing the rate at which she can use the wall. Now, the other nerf is the Collision Nerf. Now, what this does is allows large heroes to fit through one pillar gaps. What this means is that if you destroy one of the pillars, which normally is quite easy to do, when Mei throws a wall in your face, you blast the pillar down and then it's open. But Reinhardt, Roadhog, D.Va, Ball when he's the ball, or actually when he's just walking as well, can't get through the Anarissa as well, can't get through one pillar gap. They can now on PTR. This actually is a pretty big nerf because who can counter a Mei wall? Well, think about it. If you get sectioned off by a Mei wall and it's not the main tank that's caught in front of the wall, and your team blasts the wall down and your Reinhardt can just jump through, put the barrier down, or, you know, your Hog could just get through and body block or something. Actually, a big nerf, I think this is. This is a heavier nerf than what it appears to be on paper, I think. So yeah, Blizzard are definitely addressing Mei's Ice Wall and trying to really rein in its power level. Sigma gets buffed. Now, that's a strange thing to say because considering the last few months, Sigma has just been nerfed repeatedly over and over again. But he gets a little bit of a nerf, a buff even. See, even I'm saying nerf, he gets a buff to Gravitic Flux. Ultimate cost reduced by 10%. This just means you're going to have it 10% more often. Well, no, that's not even accurate. It just means that it's going to cost 10% less to get your ultimate. So you require, let's say, 10% less damage to trigger the ultimate now, which is fine. It's a buff. It means you get more Gravitic Flux, which is cool. And finally, we get a buff to Soldier 76. You guys know that I've saved the best to last here. You know I love a bit of Soldier, and this is just glorious. So what they've done here is reduce the cooldown of Helix rockets from 8 to 6 seconds. They've taken 2 seconds off Helix rocket, and now this does 120 damage. This is actually cool. This is nice. This is really, really nice. And this definitely means that Soldier now does more damage than a Batiste. Although he's kind of done more damage than a Batiste for a while since they changed the fire rate of Batiste. But yeah, I like to see this because Soldier is sort of the awkward child of the DPS lineup because there's a lot of people out there that do just better than Soldier. Ashe is better at securing kills. McCree is way better. Soldier, he needs a bit of punch, and it looks like Blizzard are starting to give him a little bit of punch. So yeah, I agree with this, but I don't think that comes as any shock to anybody. Okay, let's move on to experimental card. Now, this is the current wait time. 6 minutes for a tank, 2 minutes for support, and 2 minutes for DPS. It's like the tables have turned, isn't it? Because normally, tank would be under 2 minutes, and everybody else is pretty, well, support would probably be about 5 or 6 minutes, and DPS would be like 10 days. Now, this would be playing, let's say, around mid-master-ish kind of level. That's like the wait times there. And I know it's different for every other rank, but it's not great. Now, the idea of the experimental card and the triple damage was to reduce the queue times for DPS, and it seems to be working, but the cost is it's increasing the queue times for tanks. Now, this is natural, right? Because now there's only one tank slot instead of multiple tank slots. Well, the 2 tank slots we had before. Now, this is really interesting to me because there's a couple of ways you can look at this. Now, you could say, well, why don't Blizzard increase the team size? So what happens if instead of it being 6v6, it becomes 7v6 and they bring back 2 tanks? 2 tanks, 3 damage, 2 support. Now, Jeff has already said this would never happen. It would break Overwatch and they're not going to do it. So what about the other way? What about removing a DPS from the queue and then putting a tank in? So we go 2-2-1. So we've got 2 tanks, 2 supports, 1 DPS. What about we go 2 tanks, 1 DPS, 2 support? That still doesn't cure it, does it? Because we need the multiple DPS slots. What about if we go 3 DPS, 1 tank, 1 support? And we've still got 5 there. See, there's other ways of looking at this, but the question becomes, is Overwatch, or does it always have to be a 6v6 game? Would 5v5 be a problem? And I've just given you guys like a bunch of different combinations you could do with the heroes. I think you still would need to keep the 3 DPS realistically, just to keep the queue times down for DPS, which would cure the problem of the DPS queue times being absolutely massive. And then you've got the 1 tank and the 1 support. It's going to increase their queue times, but would the game be better? I don't know. Like, there's so many different ways of looking at this. I think at the end of the day, it is very difficult to solve this problem of DPS queue times. There's so many DPS heroes in the game. There's not enough tank heroes. I mean, potentially we're going to get a bunch of new tank heroes at some point. That would be good. But also, we could do with a bunch of support heroes as well. But there's just so many DPS heroes in the game that more people will play DPS. And interestingly, Jeff did touch on this, and I covered this in a previous video. But just to quickly recap for you guys, Jeff did say they think they have failed as a team when it comes to showing visual rewards for tank players. It's not as visceral as it is for a DPS player. When you're lighting up the kill feed, you're getting all the elimination messages, and you really feel like you've had a massive impact. For a tank player, it doesn't really feel like that. If you block a lot of damage, it doesn't matter. If you like, a lot of it is not represented. The age-old thing for tanks has always been, if you create space for your team to work, and then your DPS does the thing and gets a load of kills, it looks like the DPS are playing really well, when actually the tanks help them do that. Tanks have always been DPS enablers in Overwatch for the most part, especially the main tanks. They're there to push the space, control the space, allow DPS to play, and supports enable the tanks, but also enable the DPS as well. So it gets really complicated when you sort of look at ways to quantify and show the impact of a tank player and a support player in any given game. Whereas DPS, it's really easy because DPS is just killing things. And it's very easy to show that as a visual reward to the player and make the player feel like, yeah, I'm doing so well here. I'm getting tons of kills. So experimental card, I want you guys to let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I asked for this at the top of the video, but I want to know what you think about the current state of the card. Now, Jeff did say that the card, the changes we've got on this right now are extreme, and we probably won't see changes like that again. It'll generally be used just to test sort of balance changes and stuff like that, and we won't be alerted when this gets updated. It will just literally pop up and be like, hey, here's the new experimental card. And Jeff did also say that the current experimental card that is in the game probably will only be there for a few days, then they'll get rid of it. So yeah, that's interesting stuff. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. There's been a lot of stuff to cover. A lot of stuff is happening in Overwatch, and again, it feels good to see all this kind of new bits of information, new updates, like good updates coming out. And it just feels good to be able to talk about new stuff that's happening in the Overwatch world again. And also, Dr. Disrespect played Overwatch last night. Yeah, it was quite the thing, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next video. Remember, if you love the video, then do subscribe, click the bell, leave a like, and comment below. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. And you can follow me on everything, which is at Stylosa. See you on the next video, guys. Toodaloo.